All right, man. We are live from Mile 1, ladies and gentlemen. Kash here with Pla-Mor Laredo, and blessed to have my second guest on my second program called Grow Yourself. It's an entrepreneurial show about a journey that most entrepreneurs take when they decide to go into business. And one of the people that has been chasing a dream and is about to live out that dream is Mr. Roque Vela Jr.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it so much. I walked in here and I was literally in awe at just how perfect this place is. It's a funny story. I know we got into it a little bit when we were on the phone and earlier today, but when I was on council, I actually went to Washington D.C. and met with the EDA, and we were asking for an EDA grant for a parking garage for downtown for the mall, and it was basically not just a no but a hell no. And the reason it was is because it just wasn't in line with what is the needs of today. And the LDF and Olivia were in the room at the time, and unbeknownst to me, they had applied for a loan for a grant for this place. And as I'm listening to her and listening to the director at the time, he invited me to a getaway, if you will. It's called REACT. Don't ask me what that acronym stands for. I'm going to tell you. But basically, it's people all over the world. We get together. We landed in Minneapolis, and 10 days later flew out of Chicago, jumped in a bus, and just toured incubators / business accelerators throughout the Midwest. And it really opened my eyes as to what exactly we need here in Laredo to make sure that we harnessed that brain power that we have here in Laredo. The people that leave, that feel like that they don't have what they need to be successful to accomplish those dreams that they have. And this is exactly what this is. I mean, a business incubator is exactly that. You're taking somebody's idea and you're fostering it, making sure they have everything they need to be successful. And you think about when we were in our 20s and hopes and dreams that we had, and some people have a little bit more, are blessed with a little bit more tools to be able to accomplish those, and others are not.
Right.
And this is exactly what this does, is it helps.
It levels the playing field.
Yeah, and it puts all those like-minded people together, and maybe you have a common goal, maybe you don't, but at the very least, is you have people in there saying, hey, you know what, this is possible. I don't care who you are. There's always going to be people telling you can't accomplish something, regardless of where you came from, who you are, what your background is. There's always going to be people that are going to be trying to hold you down. This is exactly the opposite. This is an environment where people not only telling you yes you can, but this is how you're going to do it, and and we're going to help you accomplish that goal. And for those of you young entrepreneurs out there, I mean, if you have an idea, if you have a dream, come here. This is where that dream can become a reality.
Yeah, if you've never been to Mile 1, and I know this was a project that you helped get going from the idea, from its inception, when you were a part of city government. But now, to kind of see it complete and see it come to fruition. And when you walked in, I was watching you when you were looking around, and you had a certain look, and it's a look that everybody gets when they walk in this building. It's a feeling that you feel when you walk in this building. For those of you that never been to Mile 1, it's 1312 Houston Street, downtown Laredo, Texas. You walk into this building, you're invited, everybody's invited to come and really experience the vibe. And you kind of hit the nail on the head. You said the vibe. And that, I think, is a big piece of entrepreneurship, because when you surround yourself with people, like-minded individuals who are about progress, who are about success, who are about achievement, who are about dream chasing and achieving those dreams, how important is that, like, for you in your personal experience, You know, how important is it to surround yourself, your circle, so to speak? How important is that, and how has it been an importance to you in your journey?
It's surrounding yourself with positive vibes and people that can do type of people is of utmost importance. We're all surrounded. We all have that voice in the back of our head. You know, you have that. You always see, you know, commercials or that, you know, with the angel and the devil, you know, kind of telling you yes you can, and others. There's always that doubt in the back of your mind as you know, exactly how am I going to accomplish? How am I going to achieve that dream? And you know, that's that inner struggle that you're always going to have. So it's of utmost importance to make sure that you're surrounding yourself and you're putting yourself in that environment to making sure that you're going to accomplish what you want to accomplish, and making sure you have people in your inner circle that have that same dream and that same vision. And when the times are tough, there's always going to be tough times. They're going to be there to pick you up instead of bringing you down or abandoning you. You know, there's a story that was always resonated in my mind. Aaron Tater, he was an offensive lineman at Notre Dame, and I was helping coach a high school combine in Amarillo, and he was helping us, and he was one of the speakers. And he was raised by a single mother, and his mother was a nurse, and she would work graveyard shift. So as a junior, she would usually get home about 6 in the morning, and I thought it was fascinating that they shared the story. She would get home about 6 in the morning. So as a high school junior, and he grew up, I think it was in San Francisco or somewhere in California, San Diego, and you know, so he'd go out and party, you know, the junior high school.
Of course. Get
home about 4 in the morning, and so his mom never knew. So one night she gets home at 4 in the morning, and she's waiting for him at the kitchen table. He walks in and says, "What are you doing?" So what are you going to do with your life? And Aaron says, "Well, you know, I'm going to get a Division I scholarship. I'm going to play football, and I'm going to go to the NFL." And she says, "I hear what you're saying, but your actions are telling me something completely different."
Right.
So he had that dream, but he wasn't necessarily taking the steps to accomplish that dream. And I think that was an aha moment for him, and said, you know, I need to get my stuff together and actually start taking those actions to be able to accomplish that dream. So having a dream is one thing, but before you know it, as you know, I mean, I was 23 2 days ago. Right. All of a sudden, I'm 41 years old, and life flashes in front of you. You know what I mean?
You got a mortgage, you got kids.
So it changes. So, you know, taking those steps and not just talking about it, not just dreaming it, but actually accomplishing it and putting those wheels in motion are important. Surrounding yourself. I mean, I'm sure Aaron at that time probably didn't surround himself with people that had his vision, had his dream. They had other things. They had something else in their mind. So putting yourself around people that have that vision, that have that same like-mindedness is important. That's exactly what this is. When you come in here, you're not going to be with somebody that's just going to want to go out and drink beer till 4 in the morning. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen.
Right,
but, you know, there's a time and a place for everything.
Right.
So when you come in here, you know, you're going to have people that want to be successful, that want to accomplish certain things with their life. And it's important that you surround yourself with people like that because, you know, as they say, birds of a feather flock together.
Absolutely.
This is exactly what this is. I mean, when I walked in here, I had an idea of what to expect, but man, this could not be any more perfect. and you know, and it's I don't want to say it's difficult for me to say that, but picture yourself, or just think about, you know, having this baby, right? Like you conceive this baby, and all of a sudden the baby's being raised by somebody else, and it's like, man, it's a beautiful baby, but it's not really my baby. And that's kind of how I feel with this. But you know, be that as it may, I'm still proud of this, and at the end of the day, it's the young entrepreneurs that are going to take advantage of this, that are going to gain the fruits of the labor here, and that's all that matters at the end of it.
Well, I think every individual, look, you know, when in your journey, whether it was a teacher, whether it was a family member, whether it was a friend or an acquaintance, whether it was you went left instead of going right. Individual, and you just mentioned it, individual actions culminated, coming together, produce this end result. And I think, you know, some of the actions that you took are evident of what has happened here in Mile 1. in terms of your story, the Aaron Taylor story, you again touched on another great point, which is we all have dreams, we all have aspirations, but a lot of times we don't act on that dream. Right now, I've heard you talk about a dream. Right now you're in the middle of a huge project here in the city. It's a multi-million-dollar project here in the city. You've been working towards this dream.
Yeah.
And, it was a dream. Talk a little bit about that action before we get into the project and start breaking the project down a little bit. But talk a little bit about, you woke up one morning, what happened that said, you know what? This is it, man. We're going after this thing. What was the turning point for you?
Well, a lot of people, a lot of us, a little bit older generation, remember the original Pla-Mor. I actually grew up in the apartments, or not grew up, my first home. I grew up in East Laredo, but until I was about 4 years old, I lived in the apartments behind Pla-Mor, the original Pla-Mor, the Versailles apartments. My first memory was actually at Pla-Mor. I remember waking up. My sister woke me up. I must have been 2 or 3, however old I was. Walked through the little cutout through the cyclone fence that divided the apartments and Pla-Mor. Walked into Pla-Mor. Walked down the hall into the office. My mom was working as usual, and so that was my first memory. Is the original Pla-Mor, and then obviously that closed down after we opened up Jet North. And, so that was in 86, and we've obviously been in the bowling business for my entire life, over 40 years now. And Pla-Mor, I think, was always something that, growing up, I wanted to bring back to Laredo in some form or fashion. And I remember right before I got on the council, I went to a main event in San Antonio.
Yeah.
I walked in there and was just in awe at what they had taken with the concept of bowling and turned it into something just 20 times better. Something literally for everybody, whether you're 2 years old or 82 years old. There's a little bit of something for everybody. And also thought, man, if this comes in Laredo, we're SOL. We need to be able to change, along with Laredo, but along with the business as well. I started talking about the concept of bringing Pla-Mor back to Laredo, imitating that exact concept that main event has. So in that, we started gathering information, what attractions do we need, where do we want it to be, how much it's going to cost, everything that you need to know to be able to put together a business plan. We settled on a location, took a little bit of time to be able to get the right location that we wanted, not just for the business, but also for the community that the business was going to be around. And then, of course, getting the bottom line, it's just shy of a $10 million investment, $9.6 million. Obviously, that comes with a lot of financial responsibility and just being able to come up with a down payment.
$9.6 million.
$9.6 million.
Okay, so does that not scare the hell out of you when you hear that number? Because obviously, okay, here's the bill.
Yeah, just to be able to keep the doors open on something like that is, you're looking at about $250,000 a month between salaries, the notes, inventory, light, everything that comes with it. So you got to make $250,000 a month just to be able to break even. Never mind, actually making money. So yeah, look, we've leveraged absolutely everything. You want to talk about scraping every single penny together just to be able to come up with that down payment. And it's taken a little bit longer than we wanted. We're going on, 7-8 years now, where just from day one when we started to put all the information we needed, doing the feasibility study, putting all the numbers together, getting the different vendors together. It's been a long process. And then on top of that, we ended up going with an SBA loan. which those of you that are familiar with SBA loans, it's a lengthy process.
Right.
But the rewards of it are very well worth it. Number one, instead of having to come up with 20% down payment, we had to come up with 15% down payment. So that 5% in a $10 million loan.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
Chunk. And then on top of that, 50% of the loan is locked into a 20-year fixed interest rate. So that, I mean, is
savings over 20 years.
I mean, it just made all the sense in the world for us to go in that direction. And because of that, it probably added about another year onto the process. But again, I mean, it was one of those decisions that we did because number one, we had to, and number two, it was just when you're a small business like we are, you need to be able to look at every single angle to put yourself in a position to be successful. Because when you're talking about a $250,000
a month.
No, I mean you need to be able to finagle every single.
$250,000 a month is what this man needs to make.
Yeah, so
just to break even, okay?
So come out and support because look, there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of buzz about Pla-Mor, and you know I can honestly say that I think as excited as some people are about Pla-Mor, I think when they walk in there and they see exactly what we've done, kind of like the feeling I had when I walked in here, where it was just like, man, I'm expecting to be excited and in awe, but it was just that much more.
Right.
That's exactly what I'm trying to accomplish at Pla-Mor. When they walk in there, it's like, man, I was expecting a first class place, but this is even better. And that's what we're shooting for. I mean, there's a lot of excitement, but the worst thing that could possibly happen is people walk in there the first time and like, it was okay.
It's alright.
Yeah, that's not what I want.
It's alright.
I want them to go in there and be like, man, I need to come back as often as I can, because we got to make $250,000.
Come out and support, ladies and gentlemen. That's a huge investment for the city. It's not every day that you hear about an investment this large, a private investment being made into the city, and I commend you and your family for that. I mean, it takes a lot of guts to roll the dice, because this is technically it's a roll of the dice. We don't know, and that's with any business. I mean, you just don't know. Obviously, I know you guys got it planned out. You talked about doing studies, and it's everybody's hyped for the Pla-Mor, because we need this. It's quality of life. It's so much more to it than just being a business. There's so many more levels to it.
It's a part of the community. It's a part of the natural evolution of Laredo. And you look at things like this, and something that Laredo needed a business incubator. I mean, honestly, we needed something like this 5-6 years ago. But now it's here. We finally caught up. Pla-Mor, a facility like that, is something that Laredo has needed for years now, and we're lucky that we were able to get this accomplished before somebody else came in.
Absolutely.
And ate our lunch. I mean, we're from Laredo. We've been through the hard times, and we're happy to be able to put ourselves in a position to continue to grow with Laredo. And let me say, this is a business that absolutely merits a tax abatement. I mean, you can very easily go in there and say, hey, I need $1 million to be able to make something like this work. And if it's somebody from the outside, we would have given it. If I was on council, this is absolutely something that I'd be very comfortable saying, let's go ahead and enter into an agreement like that. Mm-hmm. We're not doing anything. We're doing this 100% on our own. There's absolutely no public money in this.
No public money, no tax abatements, no incentives, just a local family investing in the city, and you're doing it on your own.
Just us wanting to be able to grow with the city, continue to provide the service that we've been providing for this community for decades, and excited about growing the community and growing our business and our footprint as well, obviously.
Let me ask you something. You talked about an 8-year process, okay? Did you ever want to quit? Did you ever say, dude, I don't want to do this anymore, man?
That's a really good question. So another one of the reasons why it probably took as long as it took is I was on council for 4 years, And you know probably just as well as anybody else is, I put the majority of my time into being a city council member. A lot of people would ask me, how do you do it? How do you manage? We have another bit of bowling alley in Del Rio as well.
Right.
How do you manage all that? And I would always say, I wake up as a council member, I go to sleep as a council member, and I kind of do everything else in between. And this, I don't want to say it got put in the back burner, but I just didn't put as much time and effort into it as I should have. And it kind of all fell on my father. And my he's about to be 74 years old. So that fire, although if you know my father, he still has plenty of fire and plenty of passion, but it starts to dwindle.
Shout out to Mr. Vela.
Dad.
Yeah.
And so one of the silver linings after I lost my re-election was, I had more time to be able to dedicate to this. And the night that I lost, I got to be honest, it was crushing. It was a campaign that I don't think most people thought I was going to lose. I certainly, that thought never came into my mind. And never mind the fact that Trump won the same exact night. So it was all kind of crashing down on me at the same time. And it's like, that night was a difficult night. And, what am I going to do next? And it felt like the whole world was kind of attacking me. Everything was against me. The odds were stacked against me. How was the bank going to give me a loan? Because we hadn't closed on that loan yet. We had already bought the land. So that was a time when I was like, this just isn't gonna happen. I don't have that vibe that I need to be able to continue pushing forward. And about a week later, Falcon is the bank that gave us the loan, and they invited all of their customers to a party at a house that they have there by the lake. And when I walked in, it was difficult for me to leave the house there for a couple of months, let alone a week after.
Right.
So I go to the party, and I could almost see the relief in some of the bankers' face, knowing that now I'm gonna have time to be able to dedicate to this project. And that was something that was just a vibe that I kept getting from each and every one of them. And I thought, this could be an opportunity. This is a silver lining where I'm going to be able to actually chase and accomplish that dream that I've been chasing for 8 years now. And without that reassurance, I think, we talked about vibes and people that want you to be successful. That bank, Falcon, shout out to Falcon. They are a community bank that wants the very best for Laredo. Didn't really care about everything else that was going on around me. They just saw a project that was feasible, people behind it that knew what they were doing and wanted this for the community. They didn't care about anything else. And so when I left that party with a renewed sense of energy, with a renewed confidence in what I needed to do, and from that day, that's been over a year now. We've been behind it.
Yeah. So biggest, I guess, kind of devastation. You're devastated. A week later, you find the energy, you get out of the house, you get this confidence back. Would you say that that's kind of what turned?
Without a doubt. I don't know that we are here right now on the cusp of opening the doors of Pla-Mor if all those things don't fall into place, including the loss of my re-election. That's not to say that Pla-Mor wouldn't have opened anyway, but right. I don't know that it's right now. Maybe it's a year from now, maybe it's 2 years from now, maybe it's 5 years from now. Right. I don't know. There's just no telling what would have happened, because I know that as a council member, I dedicated at the very least 80% of my time towards the city of Laredo, and a lot of great things have came from that, obviously. But
right.
There was a time I think when I needed to concentrate on myself, my family, and my business, and again, that was a silver lining that
do you think that so I guess, and this is just for anybody that's thinking of starting a business or is in business right now and has taken a punch to the gut, and I think that's, would you say that's I guess happened to even the best, like your dad or any other entrepreneur that takes a couple of shots, falls down, but then gets back up?
you can either be defined by your failures, or you can be defined by how you came back from those failures. And anybody who's been successful has failed. For every success story, he has two failures. And for me, there's been probably two defining moments in my life. One of them was very well documented throughout the campaign, and then this right here. And if you look at each of those moments, I came back swinging after that happened. You know, the first one when I was 19 years old, that was that aha moment. That was that, you know, Aaron Taylor's mom sitting in the kitchen moment. That was my moment when it's like, you know, I'm talking a real big game, but I'm not doing the things that I need to do to accomplish those things.
Yeah.
And that was a moment where it's like, I need to change, or God knows what I'm going to become. This was another one where, you know, I got punched in the face. I was down, I was in the dirt, I was in the dumps, and I'm either going to come back and I'm going to accomplish what I want to accomplish. I'm 40 years old, I was 39 actually, about to be 40 years old. I'm either going to attack my 40s and do and be what I want to be, or I'm just going to feel sorry for myself for the next 10 years, and then I'm 50, and, you know, who knows what happens. So whenever times are tough, I mean, that's when you need to look at yourself in the mirror and have that pep talk with yourself and say, you know, what are you going to do about it? And you have to come out swinging, and it's either going to motivate you, or it's going to define you as a failure, essentially. And if you want to accomplish something, you cannot be afraid to fail, because it's going to happen. I don't care if it's sports, I don't care if it's business, whatever it is that you're doing. You got to put yourself out there, and you got to roll the dice. Business entrepreneurs and businessmen, as by nature, we're gamblers. You have to be willing to roll the dice. Some of them, they need to be calculated gambles, obviously, but you have to be willing to roll the dice, because if you want to accomplish big, you got to think big, you got to gamble big. And that's exactly what we've done here. I mean, if you would have told me 10, 15 years ago that we were going to go after a $10 million loan, I was like,
you're out of your mind.
But, you know, to just, I mean, imagine walking into the bank and saying, yeah, you know, I need $10 million bucks. It's hard to even fathom that. But when you put in the hard work, and when I talk about hard work, I'm talking about decades of hard work. I mean, obviously, this isn't just my hard work, it's my family, my mom, and my father's hard work that have put myself in that position to be able to accomplish that. And, you know, that's the blessing that I have is I come from a stable environment where people are probably a little bit more comfortable in giving me a loan like that, when other people don't have that.
Right.
And that's, again, going back to this is exactly what this is for, because there's kids out there that don't have that background, don't have that pedigree, if you will. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they come here and you have people that are saying, you know what, we don't care about any of that. Do you have a good idea? Do you have the work ethic? Do you have the dream that you want? And here, that dream will be fostered.
Do you have a plan? I think is another...
You have to have all your ducks in a row. I mean, you can't just walk in there and say, hey, I want $10 million. And yeah, I think anybody that knows the community, knows Laredo, knows that something like this was missing in Laredo. But that doesn't mean that you just walk in there and say, I mean, because there was other people. We're not the only ones that wanted to do something like this. There was, including Main Event. Main Event was on the cusp of coming down here. You know, we beat them to the punch. There was another gentleman that wanted to do it as well, that had land already and you know, had the idea, but didn't have the background, didn't have the plan, didn't have the feasibility study, didn't have the P&L, everything that came with it, to say, hey, this is exactly what I need, down to the dollar. We need this much for the ropes course. We need this much for the bowling. We need this much for the arcade. You know, line item by line item by line item. You have to have it together, and that in itself says something. When you present that to someone, it's like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. This guy has a plan. He knows how to accomplish it. He has an end game. And because of that, we were able to put ourselves in the position to be able to get this loan. And man, just to say that I'm excited about it, about us as a family and the community, and what this is going to do for the community and people's quality of life would be put in writing.
And in terms of Pla-Mor, so let's talk a little bit real quick about Pla-Mor. I know there's a lot to talk about. But what do you think, you know, once the doors open, once people are going through, once they're experiencing, all your hard work, what would you like somebody to walk away with from this? What would you like somebody to walk away from Pla-Mor with once they leave those doors?
I want them to walk away with the thought that, just like when I walked in here, is you hit the nail on the head. It's spared no expense, because we are not spared any expense. We're getting the best of the best and making sure that every single detail is met and accomplished. And when they walk out of there, they think, this is a place that I want to come back to, and I want to come back to immediately. And I don't care if you're 80 or you're 5 years old. When you have that more card that we're gonna call it, and it's basically a player's card that you can buy a beer with, or you can play a video game, or you can buy a game of bowling. It's essentially money and Pla-Mor.
Right.
Well, I want you to look at that, put it up on your fridge, and say, man, I want to go back as soon as I can.
Yeah, hey man, that's money there. I gotta go back.
Exactly. and that's what I want. I mean, if you want to go watch a football game and you want to drink a beer, that's where you want to go. If you want to just go and relax and play some video games or play laser tag,
talk about some of those features. Like what? I'm personally, but for anybody that's new to Pla-Mor and doesn't really know what Pla-Mor is, talk a little bit about what you're going to be featuring inside the building.
So obviously the anchor is bowling. We'll have 24 lanes of bowling. 16 will be just regular bowling lanes. And by regular, I mean it's going to be a lot like Jet, but the furniture is going to be sofas. It's going to be a little bit more upscale. And then we're going to have 8 lanes that are going to be walled off. That's going to be our VIP room. And inside that VIP room, there will be a collapsible wall between the 4 lanes. So maybe your party isn't large enough to take all 4 lanes, but you still want that privacy. So now we have 4 lanes and 4 lanes. That furniture is going to be a little bit nicer. The air is going to be a little bit nicer. The jukebox, you'll have your own jukebox.
Bringing the jukebox back.
And Jet. Well, we have the jukebox in Jet Bowl now. The Touchstones jukebox, which is really cool. So we'll have one for the general area, for the entire area, and then we'll have the jukebox for the VIP area. So if you don't want to listen to the music that's out there, you have control of your own music. Waitresses coming in here and waiting on you hand and foot. And then we'll have conference rooms. We'll have 2 conference rooms, 1,200 square foot each, again with the collapsible wall. So it can be 2 conference rooms of 1,200 square feet or one of 2,400 square feet. Projection screens, smart TVs. The idea there is to have a corporate audience, team building. They go in there, get their business done, and then pass out their more cards and go out and have a good time.
And kind of embracing that new form or that new style of meetings and corporate events, where you incorporate a little bit of fun into the conference area. So that's pretty cool, man. I like the fact that you guys incorporate a conference room. Gene Belmontes had mentioned it to me, and I was like, man, I mean, for young professionals, we just have a new style. Like, we don't want to be sitting in a room all day long, looking at a project. Like, hey, for lunch, guys, we're gonna go do some bowling, and we're gonna go maybe have a beer and a pizza, and then we're gonna come back to the conference or whatever.
We like to work. We like to work hard, but we also like to play hard too. And we've really figured out a way to be able to intermingle those 2 things. And this is exactly what we're trying to accomplish. It's not just a room. I mean, it's one thing to have a room and hey, let's get together and let's talk about business. You have all the tools that you need to be able to do your PowerPoint presentations or whatever it is that you need to have a productive meeting, and then go out there and kind of let it loose and have a good time. We'll also have a full-service restaurant that's going to be, I don't want to say the best restaurant in town, but we're not going to be too far. I mean, it's going to have a very upscale menu where people are going to go out there and they're going to say, you know what, maybe I just want to go out and have dinner at Pla-Mor.
Right.
So, we're going to have that as well. A bar, obviously. Snack bar, just pizza, burgers, fries. You still need to be able to have that typical bowling alley food, if you will.
Right.
Arcade, 60 video games. Redemption, obviously.
60
video games. Yeah.
So our full scale arcade.
Oh, it's going to be going to rival, if not be better than any other arcade here in town. We're gonna have a little bit of everything. We're gonna have the Pac-Mans and the Galagos, but not the old stuff.
Yeah.
You know, that new.
That's what I was about to ask you. You're gonna have Pac-Man and Galaga, dude.
It's gonna be that new big one. You know, where you sit down and it's like a 10-foot screen, something ridiculous.
I love it, man.
The redemption part of it's important because nowadays kids want to be able to play, but they want to have some value for the money that they spent. So we'll have a little prize store where they go in there and they're able to redeem their points. Obviously, the ropes course that's going to be over the arcade room, that you'll be able to go in there and go through different scenarios. And at the grand finale, we'll have a zip line. You probably saw that on the news.
Yeah, the zip lining.
Yeah, that's actually, from what I understand, it's the only one in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Rock wall as well, rock climbing, 4 different levels. I got on it the first time, and the first time I got on there, I was like, man, this is easy. I got on there without the harness.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was the easiest one, because the next day I got on the other one, like, this was a little bit easier yesterday.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah,
I know I'm a day older, but so it's got 4 different levels. The laser tag's gonna be 2 stories, 3,600 square feet, not including the second story. So it's just 3,600 square feet, 2 stories. So that is honestly one of the things that I'm probably looking forward to the most. That should start getting installed next month.
Laser tag, man.
Yeah, 3 weeks to get it installed. So as soon as that gets in there, you'll be posting a video of me chasing somebody around.
Oh man, we've got to be out there for all of that. I mean, it's exciting, man.
It is. And then in the concourse area, there'll be some oversized sofas, a couple of huge TVs, USB ports everywhere to be able to charge your phones. That's important today. So again, if you want to just go and hang out and use our Wi-Fi and watch TV and charge your phone, by all means, you're welcome to do that. If you want to chase somebody around and laser tag, whether it's somebody you know or just some random stranger that you want to chase, you know, that's cool too. Hang out, have a drink, have a good meal, bowl. I mean, it's literally a place that you can do whatever you want. Going back to my story at Main Event, the first and only time that I went to Main Event, I remember I showed up there with my family and one of my wife's friends, and I'm a bowler, so I went to go bowl. And you know, they gave me the little deal to get at a restaurant where you have to wait, and it's a little buzzer deal. So they gave it to me, and okay, went to go have some dinner. Had some dinner. Lane still wasn't ready. Started to go play some video games with my kids. Lane still wasn't ready. Went to go have a drink. Got a drink, went back and forth, and finally my buzzer went off. Like, I don't know, 2.5 hours later, and I just turned it in. I said, you know, I don't want to bowl anymore. Number one, I spent $400 already. Secondly, it's like, you know, I had such a good time already. Like, I'm good. I just don't want to bowl anymore.
Right.
And that was the moment where it's like, man, we need to get this done, because it's such a perfect 21st century version of bowling, and where anybody, regardless if you're a bowler or not, you're gonna want to go there and have a good time.
So you get, I mean, even if you're waiting, and which is probably anticipated for, you know, the first couple of months. Everybody wants to experience this. So you may have to wait, but it's not just waiting and you don't have anything to do. Man, you got that 60 game arcade room. You got laser tag. You got a full scale restaurant, bar. You could zip line, rock climb. So just, I guess, you know, even if you're waiting for a lane.
That's one of the problems with Jet is now, you know, sometimes you go there on a Friday, Saturday night, and there's like 10, 15, 20 people on the waiting list, and we try to service them as quickly as possible, but inevitably we lose 20% of them because they just leave, and it's because, I mean, what else are you going to do at Jet? We've tried to make it that family entertainment center, but it's still set up as a traditional bowling center.
Right. So,
you know, we have an arcade. There's maybe 15 games in there. We have a, you know, little bar that's, you know, it's kind of cool. Mostly just go in there and play pool. But inevitably, you know, they just leave because there's nothing else to do. Pla-Mor's not going to have that issue. So even though we have, you know, basically 2/3 of the lanes, there's so many different ways for us to be able to make money, to be able to pay the bills, that you know, regardless if you show up for bowling, maybe you end up bowling, maybe you don't, maybe you didn't even show up for bowling.
Right.
Maybe you wanted to play laser tag, but the laser tag is too busy, so you end up doing bowling, or you end up having dinner, whatever it is. I mean, if you just want to go out and have a good time,
there's something for everybody.
You're going to be able to go out and have a good time. So I mean, it's a family entertainment center by every sense of the word. I mean, that's exactly what it is, and you're going to be able to go out there and just enjoy your money and help us pay the bill.
Yeah, $250,000 a month. So it's already we're down to the wire, and I pass by Pla-Mor every day because I live in the neighborhood, and I'll see them, they're working on it and it's coming along, and I think, dude, do you ever just walk in there and then like you just think, what did I get myself into?
Another good question.
Do you ever think that, not that I want to say that you regret it, but just, I mean, what kind of feeling, yeah, everything's coming together, this is going to happen, it's a done deal, contract's been signed, checks have been cut. Do you ever just think, man, what kind of feeling right now as you approach, the doors getting ready to open, what is that feeling that you have?
So for so long, we were just trying to make this a reality, right? Trying to get our hands on the land, to secure the loan, to pour the concrete, from pouring the concrete to get the steel up, from getting the steel up to getting the building up, from getting the building up, getting the AC up. It was always just us trying to make this a reality. Now, like you said, we're on the cusp of opening our doors. So now it's like, okay, I got to turn my mindset to operations, and we need 80 people to be able to run this place. And as you know, we had a job fair about a month ago, which is a huge success. The Workforce Solutions. Thank you, shout out to you too.
Workforce,
you guys did an outstanding job. And yeah, just how it's the day-to-day operations is going to flow, and that in itself is I don't want to say overwhelming, but it's something that I think about at night sometimes, exactly how everything is going to flow, and from everything as something as simple as how are we going to charge for the ropes course or the rock climbing, like how's that going to work? Mm-hmm. Are we going to take cash, or where are they going to pay? Are we going to use the card? I figured that out, how that's going to flow. Who's going to run our kitchen? Who's going to help me be the general manager to run the day-to-day stuff, the accounting, all just the daily business on running a monstrosity like this is going to be something that you think about and it's like, man, how we can do it? How's it going to work?
Right.
And it's overwhelming at times, but it's exciting at the same time. I mean, these are things. This is something that I've dreamt about for 8 years now, and I'm on the cusp of accomplishing a goal that I've been after for 8 years, and to finally be there and have those problems, if you will. They're good problems to have, and I'm excited about it. I'm cautiously optimistic about how it's all going to work, but I know that there's going to be issues. Mm-hmm. Certainly those first couple of months, we're going to be crazy busy, making sure that everybody leaves with the experience that they expect, and on top of that, making sure that all the accounting is done properly, making sure that the customer service is done, making sure that we're hiring the right people. Obviously, whenever you need 80 people, you probably want to hire 100, and there's that natural subtraction of some people that just for whatever reason you don't want.
They just don't fit the bill, or whatever. They don't identify with the corporate culture.
And like anything else, I mean, it's a daily process. I mean, you can't fix all your problems in one day. You can't accomplish your goal in just one day. Just you grind it out every single day. I mean, when I was on council, I remember I would look at my week, on my schedule. I'll show people my schedule sometimes and what it was like when I was on council and what it's like now. On a council, it was like 5 meetings, 6 meetings, 7 meetings every single day. And now it's, I think I have 2 meetings a day.
This one.
And a lunch meeting. And it's not even a meeting. So and I would look at my schedule
and here you're spending $10 million in the city. You only got 2 meetings today, man.
Exactly. So I would look at my schedule. And it's like how am I gonna if I looked at it as a week, it was overwhelming. And then it's like, okay, I got a meeting at 9:30. Let's get to that one. And then you grind it out.
Right.
You grind out that day.
Figure out a way.
And then the next day you grind out the next day, and the next day you grind out the next day, and that's the only way to be able to attack it. It's one step at a time. And right now I'm concentrating on getting it open, but in the back of my mind I'm still contemplating how is this going to work. And luckily I've surrounded myself with some really good people that are honest and they're hardworking and they have that same vision that I have, and they're going to help me accomplish it too. And I lean on them, they lean on me, and together we're going to figure it out.
And you touched on it, because surrounding yourself, again, kind of going back to that very first question was the team, and so the importance of teamwork within a project of this magnitude. You're employing how many people right now?
We'll probably
with this project
about 90.
90 people. 90 jobs created out of this. And probably more jobs will be created as you progress down the line, as you continue your growth. So in terms of all the investments made, from the training, the money, the actual construction, because you're not even again, the jobs that were created in the construction phase, have you, in terms of how you've impacted people, the impact that you've had on other personal lives with this project, has anybody ever shared anything with you, with these 80 people or 90 people that you're employing? Has anybody, or have you heard of any stories, anybody that's just kind of told you about you hiring them, like what that hiring or you offering them a job or giving them a job meant to them?
That's a really good question. It varies. Obviously, a business like this is going to have people from their first job, high school kids, college kids that are working for the first time, or maybe they want a summer job, all the way to our general manager or a mechanic that it obviously pays more, and is their bread and butter. We just had House close. Another, it was my competition, but it was still a quality of life and entertainment venue that was taken out of Laredo. And what most people don't think about is all the jobs, the people that work there that now do not have a job.
Yeah, it was a large staff.
Think about how many of those, they're probably sitting at home, they're thinking, what am I going to do next? How am I going to pay the bills? Is Laredo a place that I want to continue living in? And here we come, and we give them that hope. And there's been a lot of that staff that has come to us that we're interested in, because that's what they do, and they're familiar with being able to work with other people and provide that service industry, so to speak. And so now we're able to impact their lives and keep 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, whatever it ends up being, people that may not have stayed in Laredo, that are going to stay here in Laredo. Those kids that are, I always like to think of the bowling business for the most part as being an entry level job. We're getting kids ready for the workforce. This is their first experience working, and it's my job, number one, to make sure that they do their job well, but also to make sure that they're trained properly to be able to be successful in the workforce. Like, hey, yeah, you're a kid, but this is your responsibility.
Right.
And when you need to be able to show up at a certain time, you need to be able, when you're told to do something to accomplish it, do it with a smile. Put in, there was this one young man, he's maybe 20, 19 years old. And it's something as simple as I asked him to put the TV on a certain channel. And it was a baseball game or something. A customer wanted it on a baseball game. And he went, and I'm watching him. And he goes and he tries to look for it. It's like kind of a half-assed effort, and then just leaves. Didn't find it, and then just leaves. And I go, come on. I go, why didn't, what's the problem? He goes, oh, no, we don't have that channel. And we have Spectrum on the TVs by the bowling area, and then we have Direct TV at the bar. Different channels, like it's not, like if it's on channel 8 and Direct TV, it might be channel 43 in Spectrum or whatever it is. But you're able to find what the station is. And if you know if it's on CBS, then you know CBS is channel whatever or this other one. And I go, look over there. The game is right there. Find out what station that is and then put it on that channel. Well, here, and I go, there's two people in this world. There's a person that figures out how to do something, how to accomplish something, and there's a person that looks for an excuse not to accomplish something. Which one are you going to be? And he looked at me and went, what do you mean? I said, you're either going to find an excuse as to why you couldn't accomplish something, in this case, put in the TV on the correct channel, or you're going to look for a way to be able to do it. So there's these little moments where you're able to teach somebody on how to be able to be successful. Yeah, I was putting the TV on the channel, but on the proper channel. But it's just these little things where I'm able to be able to train them to be successful and to accomplish what it is, whatever the case, however small or minute it might be, to accomplish whatever it is that they want to accomplish. And then, yeah, there's these other bigger ones where they have families that they have to be able to support. They have families of 3 or 4, and that's one of my main priority every other week is making sure that we have money for payroll. Whether it's in Del Rio, whether it's in Jet, whether it's going to be here at Pla-Mor. That payroll is important, and I want my payroll to be as large as it possibly can. The more money I make, the more money I'm able to give to my employees, the better they're going to live. That's my main goal, first and foremost. Payroll. Then after that, of course, it's the note. Then every year it's taxes. Then every April it's income tax.
The headaches of business.
So I mean, it's just every single there's just ebbs and flows in business, and there's really good times and there's really tough times, and I've always prided myself in when those tough times come to make sure that my employees still have what they need, and sometimes we're not able to take care of them as much as well as we like to, but they understand that, and they understand that I have their best interest in mind, and we're in this together, and the more that they understand that we're in this together, it's not about me, it's about us. Mm-hmm. The better product you're going to have, the better service that they're going to have, and it's business is about how you treat people, and treating people a certain way is important. Being fair, being consistent is important, and I've told a lot of my managers this. They say, hey, you know what? It's a difficult, whether it's a fundraiser, and as you know, fundraisers we try to give to them as much as possible. And last year was a little bit slower year for us. And there was this one fundraiser that always comes, and we wouldn't charge it because it's a good cause and it's a little bit slower time. And the manager says, we really can't. We should charge them this year. And I said, look, consistency in business is important. We can't they come in here and they know we comp the bowling because they're raising money for scholarships. They know it's a slow time of year. We need business. We need people in the building. It's a partnership that we have. Can't just walk up there and say, hey, you know what? This year it's gonna be $1,500. Right. It's not ethical business practice, and it's not consistent, and that leaves us a bad taste in people's mouths. So when you walk into a certain business, you expect a certain type of service, and that's what we try to accomplish, and that's what I've tried to ingrain in my employees' heads and in their minds, and try to keep that consistency throughout JetBowl. So employees are the lifeblood of any single business, and how you treat them, how you treat your employees is exactly how they're going to treat you.
Absolutely, how they're going to take care of your business. One last question. What, in this whole process, what's been the biggest lesson that you learned? For me this year, through entrepreneurship, patience for me has been the biggest lesson. Being patient, not expecting things to happen overnight has been my biggest, I guess, lesson that I've learned through this whole entrepreneurial process. What we see on social media, what we see on TV, we see, the big wigs like Gates, and we see Zuckerberg, and we see Bezos, and Musk, Elon Musk. We see these guys, and they're so successful, and we think, oh man, these guys make it look easy. I'm hearing your story, and it does not sound easy. And that's probably been one of the biggest things that I've learned, is that entrepreneurship is not easy. You need to be patient. Overnight success could take up to 10 years. What's been that lesson for you through this process? What have you learned, maybe about yourself or about business?
First, let me say that for anybody that may think that I want to start my own business so I don't have to work, this isn't the right. This isn't the
no.
This isn't the right career for you. If you own your own business, you're gonna have to work just that much more. Even when you're not working, you're working.
You have to work even harder.
On Sunday, you say, you know what, I'm gonna, like this past Sunday, you say, you know what, I'm gonna relax. I'm not gonna do nothing. To me, that's going in a jet boat for 4 hours. That's a relaxing day for me.
Yeah.
And that's just the nature of the beast. As far as what have I learned, patience is probably something that I learned a while back. And people that know me probably saying, you're not patient. Believe me, I'm a lot more patient than I used to be. I think what I learned the most is no matter how bad it gets, if you still have your health, if you still have a breath in your lung, you still have a chance. If you still have a chip in the game, you still have a chance. And there was a time, that night when I lost, where I thought I was. If you would have told me the night before I lost that you're gonna lose, I would have told you then my life is over. I mean, to me, that election was everything. It was my standing in the community. It was my reputation. In my mind, Pla-Mor was a part of that as well. In my mind, if I lose that election, I lose Pla-Mor. I thought everything was over. My life was over. I wouldn't know what to do next. So I went to bed that night thinking, I'm done. I'm ruined. I don't know where to go from here. So with the worst possible scenario in my mind happened a little over a year ago. And yet here I am on the cusp of opening up a dream of mine, a $10 million investment. No matter how bad it gets, if nobody died, if you have your health, things are going to be okay. You just got to continue to grind it out and work every single day to accomplish that goal. That's what I took away the most from this process, from this past year and a half, 2 years. As bad as it got, as ugly as it got, as dark as it got, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. You just have to continue to have faith in yourself. You need to lean on the people that love you, the people that are around you. Surround yourself with the right people. And every now and again, you're gonna doubt yourself, and I don't know if you do it, but I know I have talks with myself, looking in the mirror every now and again and say, "Hey,
all the time,
suck it up,
suck it up." But yeah, exactly.
And just continue to grind it out. Every single success story, whether it's Elon Musk or Gates, whoever it is, they all struggled, and I guarantee you, they will all tell you that there's been some dark times, and there's been some times where they thought, I'm not going to be able to accomplish my goal. With great success comes great failure. That's just the way it is. And you wouldn't even know what success is without that failure. If you don't know the good times without the bad times. And you know what the worst part about it is there's times when I'm sitting there with my family and, man, things couldn't be better. I just had a great night in Vegas. The tables treated me well. I'm having a great time. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, enjoy this, because there's going to be tough times.
Right.
And while that's kind of a negative way to be able to look at life, after a while, after you've gone through all the ebbs and flows and the ups and downs, it's just the reality of it. It's just the way life goes. You gotta roll with the punches, and enjoy those good times when they come, because if you work hard, you will be rewarded with good times. But there's also going to be some difficult times, but know that they don't. They're not going to.
It's temporary.
They're not going to be. It's not going to last forever. There's going to be some good things that come out of it. We're just going to grind it out.
Absolutely. The epitome of this conversation today, And one thing that stands out to me is there are those who find a way, and there are those who make an excuse to not find a way. I think you've found the way. And man, I appreciate you sharing this story today, your stories. I wish you nothing but success. You don't need it. You're successful already. But I think you're even more successful here in the next few months once those doors for the Pla-Mor open. As a kid growing up, I saw Karate Kid, the original Karate Kid at Pla-Mor with Ralph Macchio. This is in the 80s. Yeah, I'm that old. And to now for many years we were disenfranchised in this area in terms of quality of life. There wasn't a lot to do, and we're still getting there. We're making progress, and I think Pla-Mor's it's great to see it come back and you relive those memories and help us relive those memories. So, man, congratulations, brother.
Thanks, man.
Roque Vela Jr., ladies and gentlemen, remember, #grow yourself. Pla-Mor, when does it open?
We should be open by the middle of June. That's still kind of, it's not set in stone, but
okay.
If everything goes perfect from here and now, we'll be open by June 18th, let's say. Brunswick started installing last week. Brunswick is the
bowling company.
Bowling. They take about 8 weeks, so that should fall right around June 18th. There's a lot of details within the building that we're still going to have to make sure are done correctly. So we'll be open by summer. But right now we're shooting for the middle of June, and hopefully we can accomplish that. I'm doing everything I can to make sure it happens. I'm heading to Pla-Mor from here, making sure that we have the crew that we need in there. There's times when it seems like every Monday there's a skeleton crew in there, and I call it contractor. I'm like I understand the Monday after Easter, but come on, man. This is late April. Let's get the full crew in here on Monday.
Yeah.
So there's always little things that we need to keep an eye on, but we're certainly headed in the right direction.
Progress is coming along slowly but surely. And again, just because you're not making a $10 million investment, and I want to point this out to everybody, doesn't mean that you're not making an effort to become an entrepreneur or start your own business. Whether it's $500, it's $100, it's you slowly getting equipment together to start a business. Maybe it's your side job, aside from your 9 to 5 that you do on the weekends, and slowly but surely you're building it up. You are an entrepreneur. You are somebody who has a dream, who has a vision to be bigger than what you are right now. That is you. And I hope you take these words. These are positive words, ladies and gentlemen. By no means is it being negative. I want everybody to take these words and really use them as an advantage. Take the lessons of an entrepreneurial family here who's made investments in the city, who's learned from hard times, who's learned from being on the ground and coming back up, standing back up, head held high, and moving forward. Again, find a way. Don't find an excuse to not find a way. I do want to say thank you to everybody for chiming in, man. Everybody was kind of chiming in here. Joe Murillo, who else? Mr. Castro, I see you. My wife Tracy, also Alberto, Juan Avila. Thank you so much for you guys sharing your feedback. I don't have time to read those comments because I'm not going to, but I will say thank you for sharing and posting your comments. Please share this video on your page, and of course like our page, Grow Laredo. Once again, it's #grow yourself. Roque Vela Jr., thank you so much, brother.
Thank you.
Congratulations, and we wish you nothing but the best. Till next time, we're out of here. And keep on growing yourself.